being an engineer in an industrial country is great.
Okay. 미안해. 다시 시작해야 돼. Hey guys, welcome back. Trevor here and
Ash, for the second time.
We've been in Korea for a long time.
That's like 9 years and exactly 1 month.
When did you come to Korea?
February 29th in 2012.
Oh man, I came on February 26th, 2012. So it's been around 9 years and 1 month. And during that period, a lot has changed. Let me just give you an interesting story. So when people ask me why I am in Korea, the honest answer
Yeah, exactly.
the honest answer is
why are you here in Korea 9 years later?
Why?
After graduating, I went back to Kenya. I had a really bad experience trying to find a decent job which could enable me to forward my career in engineering. I'm from like a mechanical and aerospace engineering background, and yeah, it was just really hard for me to find a decent career.
It's interesting, sorry for interrupting you, but you are in an industrial country and you are an engineer, yet you wanted to leave this industrial country to go find an engineering job back in your country.
So today we are going to talk about our transformations 9 years ago. The Ashraf I knew 9 years ago, obviously, is not the Ashraf I know today. Drum roll.
Alright, let's see.
Let's see.
One of the most distinctive characters I came to Korea with and everybody knew was extreme competitiveness. Ask Trevor, ask anybody. Everybody know how competitive I was. You still remember? Oh my god. Okay, I was so lame, man.
Ashraf would go around the language school asking people their grades. Then he'll be like, oh man, I had like 86 in Korean grammar. Like, oh, how many, what was your score? And if you say anything higher than 86, he would just shut up. You'll be like, oh man, I had like a 90. And I'll be like, Ashraf, I had 95. And
Korea really showed me what competition actually looks like.
So Korea is a really competitive society. I was also really confident.
Oh yeah.
9 years ago, man. I was so confident because I've always been at the top, or like top 1%.
My god, you're so humble.
Like since
when he says top 1%, he doesn't mean top 1%. He means top 0.001%.
And then I come to Korea. I'm really struggling to understand my classes, my engineering classes. I became less confident. That's something I'm struggling to like bring up my confidence to the level that it was. I remember the first time I entered in a Korean company, we have like this exam sort of after 3 months. There's something we call 수습 기간.
수습 기간.
수습 기간.
You're like on probation.
On probation. So after 3 months, you're going to become like a full-time worker. So during this period, we had an exam and they asked a really simple question and I kept doubting myself. I'm like, I gave them the answer and I'm like, is it this answer? And they're like, 잘 생각해봐봐. And
that just threw you off.
Yeah, and that just threw me off. And I ended up giving the wrong answer. Anyway, yeah.
Korea is kind of, let's say, they are very, very hardworking. Very hardworking, and students you're competing with are really, they are the reason the bar is even higher and higher, you know.
The reason why Korea I think is very competitive is because it's a country which you don't have any resources, so the only resource you have is people. You have to sell yourself. It's a bad analogy, but think of yourself as like something on the shelf of a market, and you have to be really good, more attractive so that people can buy you, because you don't have any natural resources in Korea. So people are the only resource they have, and people compete to be the top of their game. That's why Korea has like a high rate of suicide among OECD countries. It has a high rate of like plastic surgery because you're competing with other people, so you have to look good for you to be more competitive in your
and what you
interviews.
offer, like beauty, skills, intelligence. Both, they can be seen both as positive and negative.
The second way I've changed since coming to Korea, cause
The mic is right here, man. It's not in the other room.
The second way I have changed after coming to Korea is I've become more hasty. 급해졌어. Like
more hasty. Now define more hasty. Like,
wait, I have become hasty.
Like you thought you were hasty actually until you met Koreans, is what you mean.
I thought I was hasty. I came to Korea. I discovered I'm not hasty. And so
makes sense.
I tried to boost up my level of hastiness.
That's not how. Here's the thing. Koreans are so hasty. They have this 빨리 문화 or 빨리 culture. They eat super fast. Like you put lunch in front of them and they finish everything with the side dishes and in 5 minutes, 10 minutes tops. You are with your teammate, all finished already 5 minutes ago, are just sitting there waiting for you to finish your food. And you thought you were actually eating fast.
When I'm in Korea, I'm the slowest in my company. And so I devised a way to eat slowly.
Oh,
this is it. If you're a foreigner and you're working in a Korean company and people are eating really fast, it's awkward when they are waiting for you. Do this. Eat slower.
Life hack.
Life hack. Eat slower. If you eat slower and you just tell them, oh, 먼저 가셔도 돼요. The first time they'll be like, oh, 괜찮아요. 우리가 기다려줄게요. And then they'll wait for you for like 20 minutes.
That's
and then
a good life hack.
slower. They'll be like, 우리 먼저 들어가 있습니다. And then they'll just leave you and just eat slowly.
Okay, we have 1 hour for lunch.
Yeah.
Now all my team members finish their food within 10 minutes. Now you see me by the 13th minute like this on the dish lap. I'm not even looking up, you know, because I know everybody's looking at me. And I'm just eating fast in order to finish and just get up with them.
Yeah.
It's pretty stressful. Fun fact though, when I went back to Yemen this time, I was eating with my family members. I swear, everybody was like, who's chasing you?
Reason why Koreans are really fast, it boils down to competition. You know, if you can finish your work faster, then you have an edge.
It doesn't actually apply to food. It applies to every aspect of life.
Of Korean life.
When it comes to work, that's why they achieve a lot of work in a very short amount of time. But to be honest, we are transforming into that now. I think we are also trying to keep up with Koreans. We are also overworking when we have to.
It's like some pressure to blend in, and if you live in Korea, the pressure is real. You have foreigners who come to Korea and they start questioning their looks. Because like even if you're a foreigner, like for me, I wasn't always conscious about how the way I look physically. I know I'm short, I'm really short, but it's not something which like registered in my mind. You should ask how short. When I'm in Kenya, I know I'm short. People make jokes sometimes, but it doesn't bother me. But when you're in Korea, like every time you're passing someone, they're always talking about 이 사람이 키 크고 얼굴 예쁘고. Like people are always talking about how someone else looks. And for men, the most important thing is the height. So like I've never spent a day in Korea.
Do you remember the TV show? Which
one? The one who said like if you're above 180, you're a loser.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Loser.
키 작은 남자는 루저라고 생각합니다.
That was shocking for me. I mean,
yeah, I was like that was my first year in Korea.
Suddenly I'm labeled a loser to somebody just because of my height.
You start becoming more conscious of your looks, your height, of course your skin. Come on, I'm black, like everyone looks at me. And hack number 2. So if you're like a foreigner in Korea, especially for black people, and people are constantly staring at you, this is my hack.
Alright, I'm interested.
Stare back at them. Works every time. Works every time. I don't know if this is scientifically true, but there was this guy who was talking about transferring energy, like you're reflecting energy. So when you're walking into a place and people are staring at you, it's like they're sending all this energy, like invisible energy towards you. And if you just take it, you don't look back at them, you're absorbing all this energy, which makes that situation more awkward.
Man, so I will be looking at so many ajashis and
just
ajumma.
Look back at them. The only time it didn't work, it's like this one guy in the subway. He just started looking at me and I looked at him and he didn't flinch. Like for 5 minutes. I'm not kidding. He was just blinking and looking at me.
That must have been super awkward. One of the good things I got to learn here in Korea, or the things I actually improved about my character, is my perseverance. So when I started studying, actually, my first semester in college, it was pretty stressful. Second, it was even more stressful. I was just getting stressed, and even though the load of work kept increasing, the amount of stress started to. It's because I think I kind of broadened my tolerance level, my perseverance. Like,
really?
My perseverance. True, I think it's the case for everybody. I don't think you were more stressed.
It wasn't that for me. For me, this is what happened. My first and second year, I didn't know anything about the school system, about applying for my courses, which courses to apply for. I didn't have any friends, like in my department.
Your major.
But then the second half of my third year and my fourth year, my senior year, that's my junior and senior year, it was so relaxed because I knew what credits to take. I knew how to take my credits. It was just a chill time for me. So for me, like if you live in Korea, people have their personal calendars and we'll be really specific. Like where we're going to meet, it will be like Kasan Digital Complex. Which place in Kasan Digital Complex, exit.
Always writing on their phone.
Yeah, always like scheduling stuff on their phones. And I tried to do this in Kenya and I couldn't because things are so unpredictable, especially the transport system.
True. Oh man, here everything is precise down to the minute.
One thing which helps Koreans to be more planned and when it comes to schedules and stuff, it's because they have reliable transport systems. You have like reliable electricity, reliable water. Things are reliable, so that allows you to be more planned. It's not like Kenyans are not more planned or organized. It's just because the environment is so inconsistent. Lastly, let's talk about religion.
Religion. Yes, go ahead.
So,
low battery, please recharge.
Damn. For me, religion had always played an important part in my life. I was raised up in a conservative Adventist environment. I came to Korea and I was shocked because in my mind I thought people succeed because they pray and they fast, and in just a flash of a moment most of my friends were atheists. They were smoking and drinking. They were really nice people, but it was a totally different environment from the one I used to.
Like they just decide they don't want to follow any religion. They don't care about religion. Religion has no important role in their life whatsoever, regardless of their parents and what they believe.
Most of my friends, especially when you go to like the university, people around our age, they use logic and intuition and you try to be as logical, as rational as possible. And this has also affected the way I think. Like so I went to this Kenyan meeting, and before the meeting, it wasn't a religious meeting. We just met to discuss a few things as Kenyans, and someone stood up and they're like, oh, let's pray. And they just prayed, and I was like, what the hell? Like, it's not even a religious meeting. You wouldn't imagine doing this with your Korean friends. Like, I question everything. I try to be as rational, as logical as possible.
Coming out of blind belief into more logical
rational lifestyle. It's a really complex topic, and I think we should devote like a lot of time talking about religion. It's a convoluted topic. Before I came to Korea, my parents, they gave me a Bible and a hymn book. Actually, I have the hymn book. Hymn book, like it has songs you sing, like Golden Bell and stuff.
HYMN.
So I lost the Bible. I don't know.
Whoa. Yeah. That's whoa.
I lost the Bible, but then my parents were like, when you go to Korea, we are sure there are...
Preach.
Yeah, exactly. There are no Christians. So you have to go there and preach and spread the word of God.
Man, my father would like ask me, how many Koreans actually converted at your hands? I was like, what? I'm not even sure I even pray on time anymore.
The funny thing is Korea sends the second highest number of Christian missionaries in the world.
True.
And Korea has a lot of churches.
You know what Negi says?
I honestly feel like the lifestyle is more of rationality rather than religion for today. So much fun, always nice having Ashraf. And if you have any questions, as usual, just ask.
Ask a lot of questions. He's got all the time to answer them in good videos. Or like he'll provide good content.
I try.
Yeah, sure. And probably there will be Ash 3. Stay tuned.